Hi everyone, CG Seb here, and we are back for another texturing tutorial. This time I'm going to texture a simple object to show you how to create details on a simple example. So here we have a belt, and I will use my TexStudio add-on, but you don't really need it. It's just to have a clean environment to texture it and have a better lighting. So I import it to the texture scene and we're good to go. So in this tutorial, I'm going to use Fluent Materializer for the texturing part and show you how to reach a photorealistic result. First of all, I'm going to create local material. I'm going to press F and add a 3-layer base. We're going to later add a 4th layer to add a little bit more details. So in the first layer, this will be the base color as usual. I could change the color over there, but then it's a plain color and it doesn't have a little bit of detail. So I'm going to use another technique that is if you press Shift A and search for hue saturation value, you can plug the color there and change the color of this hue saturation. And this will have the same result as changing over here, but we have a little bit more room to improve the details with those settings. So if we change the settings of this, it will be affected by the factor here. And we're going to go in the grunge and grunge number 5, for example. I'm going to plug the result into the facts. And what it will do, it will actually affect, based on the black and white value of the grunge number 5, the value that you put over there. So I truly advise you to enable the Node Wrangler add-on, because this is a default Blender add-on, but you need to enable it and it will help you later on. So if we press Ctrl-Shift-Click on this, we see a black and white map for this object, and we can actually change the settings, and all the parts that you see over there will be affected in the hue saturation. So if I increase this, so you can see what it does, it actually creates some variation in the color. So that's a pretty cool effect. I'm not gonna go too crazy on this because this is a little bit too much. So probably 0.9. And I'm gonna Ctrl-Shift-Click on this so we see the color. First of all, we're gonna make this metallic because this is a metal buckle, and we are gonna go a little bit more crazy on the details in the base color. You can, of course, Shift D to duplicate the hue saturation value and put it after the first one, select another grunge, result into the facts, Ctrl-Shift-Click to adjust this. We're going to play a little bit with the coverage, and we're going to Ctrl-Shift-Click on this one, and we could increase a little bit more detail. So we have the details over here and a little bit over there. So the more you put, the more detail you will have, and also make sure that the level of details is not the same in the different grunges that you add. So this is for the basic color. We're gonna play now with the roughness. For the roughness, you can choose pretty much what you want. For this one, I'm gonna probably use the grunge number 6 because this is a little bit blurry. Grunge roughness, good. This is a little bit too strong. I don't want to have a roughness of 0 because this is very shiny. Up, as you can see, we can orient it so we have a reflection on the object. I'm gonna probably go with something around 0.6 in the minimum and 0.7 in the maximum. Good. So once you have the roughness set, you might need to readjust a little bit the color as you want, because the roughness is also affecting the color a little bit. Good. So we have the roughness, we have the color, and now we're going to go with the normal. So for the normal, I'm going to move those a bit. Stay here, select the layer, and go to normals. In the normals, you have a paint detail too. This one is pretty cool. It has a lot of details in it, and we can increase the strength a little bit to see the different settings. Right now it's a little bit too big. We need to make it smaller. So to make it smaller, we increase the scale. Good. I will let you play with the different settings. If you happen to have big drops of paint, you can actually change those settings. The paint drop strength, you can decrease it if those are a little bit too big on your object and you don't really want this effect. So that's for the normal. I'm going to use the second layer for the decal. So I've made an image decal. So we can press F, add image, and select our decals. This will automatically add an empty. I'm going to press G and Control to snap it to the face. I'm going to press S to scale it down a bit. And right now we don't see the decal on the object, and this is because we need to select the object, move the node decal, and then plug it into the mix layer. And don't forget, because we Control Shift click on this layer to see what this layer is about, we are connecting over there, so we don't see the mask here. So we can go back to the principal BSDF and Control Shift click on this one, and the decal will appear, of course. So I'm going to rotate it by pressing R and Z to make it more oriented like so, and put it pretty much in the center. I'm not going to go in details on this. You can adjust it as you want. This is just for the tutorial. So great. We have a decal, we have the base paints, and I would like to add a little bit more details to this, because this is a clean decal and we see that the metal has a little bit of paint variation, and it will have some damages in the future. So let's add some damages to the decal, like a stickers that has been a little bit scratched. To do so, I'm going to use a difference node. So press F, click on difference, and put it over there. And this will actually subtract everything we put in this input will be subtract to the decal. So we will remove the decal a little bit at some point. So I'm going to use a grunge. Grunge number 5 is nice because we use it to add a little bit details on the color variation. So it's nice to keep things with the same style. So as you can see directly, it's removed a little bit. We can play with the seed, change it a bit. You can play with the, of course, the scale and everything. I like this one. And to make it a little bit more like it is a sticker that comes, that is stuck on the metal, we're going to use this output and plug it into a bump node. So search for bump, select height, and plug the normal over there. And right now we have this effect that is a little bit more something that is stick on the surface. Great. So I'm going to choose the same material for the button to open the barcode. And this is time for the damages now. So for damages, I would like to actually make something a little bit dark, like a dark color. We're gonna use the mask, of course, and for the mask, first of all, I'm gonna use a grunge, so probably grunge number 3. I'm gonna plug it into a all edge node. So all edge node is by pressing F and clicking on all edges. Notice that this all edges is not working with EV. You're gonna need to use the edge node instead. So this is for cycle because I'm working with cycle. So we're gonna plug the grunge result into the texture. So this will affect the all edge. I'm gonna plug the all edge into the mix. So you see that if we put, of course, the roughness 0.8 and increase the darkness of the borders, we're gonna get this dark effect on the edges. And because we plugged in a grunge node, it will affect the all edge. So if I remove the grunge from the texture, boom, this is everywhere on all the edges you can have. So if you plug the result in the texture, it will make it a little bit more realistic, a little bit more random. Right now, I'm going to go to the imperfection and choose the scratch node because we need a little bit of scratches, not something too big. I'm going to plug the normal into the last layer and in also the normal of the first layer. So because this is used by the detail, paint detail, I'm going to plug the normal into the normal stack of the paint detail, and it will add up the normal of the scratches and the normal of the paint detail. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to Control Shift click multiple times to switch to the mask. So we are going to be able to change the settings of the scratches. Going to play with the distortion and probably the scale. Good. And decrease the probability and click a few times, just a little bit on the seed to match the scratches where we want them to be. So let's see how this goes. I'm gonna Control Shift click on the principal BSDF and probably increase the strength of the scratches. So there is a scratch over there, here. So it adds a little bit of details everywhere. A cool trick is to actually add up this layer of I don't know, dirt. This is not really dirt because this is black, but this we can also put it inside the scratches because right now, as you can see, the scratches are the same color as this, and we can assume that the scratches have inside a little bit of material like this one. So I'm going to press F, choose lighten, put it over here, and go back to the scratch, select the mask, and plug it there. And it, as you can see, it increases the color inside of the scratches. So it's time for the damages. I'm going to select the principal BSDF, press F and click on Mix Layers. So there is a new layer, and this is where we're going to add the details of the damages. So press F while selecting the mix layer, press F, click New Layer. We'll have first layer and second layer. So the first layer will be this, and the second layer will be the damages. So the damages will actually be a light gray, metallic, because this is the metal behind the paint. So we're gonna scratch the paint and see the metal behind it. So that's why we make this layer. For the mask, I'm gonna use multiple effects. So to combine them, I'm gonna press F and click on Mixer. And this will mix multiple masks together. So that's something we can plug directly into the mix layer over there. And we will then plug different masks. So I'm going to use the local mask. The local mask you can access by pressing F and click on local. This will import an arrow in your scene. You can move it by pressing G, then hold Control, snap it to the face, and scale it down a bit. I would like to remove a little bit of paint on the button because this is probably where the paint will be scratched after pushing the button multiple times. With times the metal will be scratched a bit. So let's scale it down. And right now we see that is a mask that is a little bit diffuse, and we're going to use the texture input of this mask to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's select all those nodes and make some space over here so we can work on the local mask. For the local mask, as usual, I'm going to use a grunge, probably grunge number 3, and plug the result into the texture. And directly here, it has become a little bit more interesting. So that's pretty cool. But how to make this a little bit more like this is used a lot in the middle, like the paint is gone really in the middle and a little bit less on the outside. Basically, we're going to need to increase the coverage a bit and decrease the details here, so it is a little bit more diffuse on the borders, and probably increase a bit the blur. Good. So that's for the basic of this. To make it a little bit more interesting, we're going to use a mask node just after the decal mixer. So Shift A, click Math, plug it here, and then put it to greater than, and boom, you see that we only see the middle. You can play a bit to increase or decrease the effect of it. And this looks a little bit more like something that has been scratched over time. So this is cool. We can, of course, move it a bit, put it in center of the button. Great. You can play, of course, with scale and the different settings in the grunge to see the different results. That's nice, but we don't see really the separation between the paints and the metal behind it. And we're going to use a bump node after the greater than. So let's move this a bit. We can Shift A, search, bump, plug the output of the greater than into the height and the normal into the layer. Don't forget to click on invert. And we see a little bit more the separation. Depending on the lighting, of course, you will need to turn around. But we see a little bit more the separation between the paint and the metal behind it. So we will continue with those local masks over multiple places and use the mixer to directly mix all those local masks and details. So I'm going to use all edges again. So pressing F, all edge, and plug the mask over here. And we're going to duplicate Shift D, the grunge number 3, and plug the result into the texture. And the reason why we duplicate it is because we're going to change the settings, because for the all edge, as you can see, it's a little bit too much. It's affecting a little bit too much because the coverage is actually too big. So I'm going to decrease the coverage to only affect some parts of the belt. Great. I will let you, as usual, play with the seed and the scale and coverage to only affect the area you want. So the all edges is affecting pretty much the entire object. And if we would like to actually damage some parts, let's say this part needs to be damaged a little bit more because we have the belt that is going to scratch it a bit with time. So let's press F, local, G, hold control to move it over here, press S to scale it, click again on the objects and move the local mask here. So I'm going to put this at the bottom and put all the local mask together because we're going to reuse the grunge for the texture input. Plug the mask into the number 2 mask and boom, this is affecting this. This is a little bit too much, so I'm going to play with the scale of it. So I'm going to reduce this, increase this a bit, and you might need to rotate your arrow here, your empty, pressing R, Z, and Z, and then rotate so it actually goes along here. And if you play with the scales, you will see that now it is affecting here. So probably needs to rotate again to align with the border. And this is a little bit too broad, so might need to actually play with the different scale until you see it matches what you want. So that's cool. It's pretty cool detail that we added. And because it is plugged to the decal mixer, it will automatically be plugged into the greater than, and we will have this effect of scratch a lot in the middle and with only the borders affecting here. If you see your local mask is going too deep, that is projecting behind the object, you can actually go to the Z scale and increase it a bit so it doesn't go outside of the surface. So for the belt itself, I'm going to create a new material belt. I already UV unwrapped it because this is not a part in this tutorial, so I'm going to not waste time on this one. So for the belt, I'm going to press F, use a 2-layer mask. I'm going to go actually to the fabrics section and choose a leather. So for the leather, I'm going to plug the color, the normal, and increase, of course, the roughness 0.9, 0.8, and I would like to make some greenish color, probably a little bit too saturated, but I would like a green ladder. So increase a bit strength. Of course, I'm going to change a bit this, and this is for the basic of the color. So it's time for the damages. For the damages, I would like to copy what we did a bit with the first damages we added here. I'm going to use like a dark color. Of course, I'm going to put 0.8 here. And let's use, for example, a grunge number 5. Plug the results into the mask of the mask layer. Increase a little bit the darkness. And this is a bit too much. So if you increase a bit the coverage, you will see a little bit of dirt everywhere. So that's pretty cool. By the way, we can select this and make it like the same material as the buckle. And also, usually when you have a belt, it is a little bit damaged on the sides. So to do so, we're going to use again the all edge mask. So press F and select all edge. Press F, select lighten. Put the lighten just after the grunge and the all edge inside this. So as you can see, the all edge is affecting the entire edge of the belt. And to improve the texture, we're going to choose another grunge, plug the result into the texture, and this will actually make more variation to the dirt. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and see you on the next one.